Welcome to, I'll do that again.
Well, you've forgotten it already.
Already, I can't believe it's been so long. Richie, sorry. Welcome to Talking Balearics. My name's Martin Makepeace here in Ibiza.
My name is Richie Pryor, and I'm here in Mallorca, and I know what we are.
Oh yeah. Well, because you took the week off, Rich, because I believe you've got some
My
big
fault, is it?
you've got some big news, haven't you?
No, not yet. Not yet. No,
I
not
thought
yet.
you. I thought no, sorry. I thought you were back on the radio. That's the news, isn't it?
Oh, yes, I am back on the radio, Mark. Sorry, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the big news, isn't it? How is it? How's the radio going?
Yeah. We'll have to get you on, I think, don't we?
Yeah, well, I'm ready and waiting, Rich. Was it good to be
Cool.
back?
Yeah. Well, I just had to work out how all the buttons worked again, Mark, because they've changed the whole studio since I left.
Okay.
So it's all 21st century, and I, me and technology doesn't go well together. But it was a really good week. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and into my second week from this morning. So great.
Fantastic. And is it like going into a nice comfy old pair of slippers, talking the talk, mate?
It was nice to get back. Yeah, it was just nice to just to start playing music, talking again, and reenacting with all the listeners. It was great, Mark. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Well, talking Balearics, what have you got for me this week, Richie?
We are talking. We're talking. Well, this is a headline that I saw in the paper earlier this weekend. Palma hotels reaching the milestone of all year round opening. And so I want to talk about that, and I was and sort of involve a bit of Christmas into that as well.
Yep, of course.
Also, looking at free transport here in Mallorca. We have free public transport in Mallorca, which they're talking about. Will that be going into 2025?
Okay.
Which will be obviously an interesting one to come up.
And your blog was very interesting this week, Richie. Should we talk about that as well?
Yeah, the blog. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's to do with the airport, the blog as well. And
Yeah,
your
fantastic.
blog, Mark, your blog. Yeah. I mean, you get it. Everybody. Last week it was quizzes. This week it's roast dinners. Brilliant. Everybody thought Ibiza was all amnesia and passion. Forget it.
It's all about the roast dinners, but there is a point to that blog as well. Also, I messaged you the week about it, just about the most profitable hotels in the whole country are in the Balearics. So that's something that I think we should celebrate, but also, there is a reason behind it. And the most expensive place to actually rent in the Balearics is now San Antonio, which is my hometown. Now, as you know, San Antonio gets a bit of a bad rap, and I thought it was very interesting that we've now gone from the pariah to the most expensive place to rent an apartment in the whole of Balearics.
I was shocked by that, Mark. I was shocked, particularly the sort of. Well, we should carry on with this.
Okay. Should we start? Do you want to start? Should we start with that one, mate?
Yeah, definitely. Because I honestly would have held my hands up. It's got to be Calvia where I live. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
because you just said San Antonio has had a bad rap over the years. A bit like it's a bit like Magaluf of Mallorca.
Yeah.
So why? What's the change? What's brought this about?
Well, it's straightforward. I mean, we all know there's a massive crisis of accommodation in the Balearics. It's the same over there, I believe, Richie, isn't it? You can't get anywhere to live. I mean, it's probably the number one problem in the whole of the Balearics at the moment. And we've got a government who haven't really faced up to it, although they are bringing in legislation as we speak, which I think is a really good thing. But I think the basic problem, Rich, is that there's no accommodation out there in San Antonio. So when an apartment becomes available, it's simple supply and demand. And I think unscrupulous owners, or is it unscrupulous, or are they just cashing in after so many years of inactivity? I think the price people pay is just gone through the roof. Now, when I used to run my accommodation agency, I used to have 400 apartments in San Antonio at one stage, and I think the rule of thumb was maybe €1,500 for a 2-bedroom, sorry, 1,200 for a 2-bedroom, 1,500 for a 3-bedroom. That was for 6 months a year, Richie. Now you can double those prices. I think 2 bedrooms are going for like maybe close to 2,000 a year, 3-bedroom going close to 3,000 a year. So the prices have just gone absolutely crazy. Now, if you look at the actual list of the most expensive places in the Balearics, you're right. Calvi is second. Yeah, Calvi second, 21.5 euros per square meter. San Antonio's first 22, just over 22 euros a square meter. And then we've got San Jose, Santa Eulalia. Then Alcudia, Rich, which I was quite surprised at. Alcudia, 19 euros a square meter, because I mean that's right. It's up north, isn't it, Alcudia? So
way up north. Yeah,
I was surprised at, and Poyensa, which I'm not surprised about because it's a lovely place, isn't it?
Yeah,
18 euros a square meter. Yucmayor, where is Yucmayor, Rich? Sorry, I'm
going towards the east coast.
Right, okay.
It's one of the first major towns you get to if you're traveling towards, say, Calador.
Yeah, just a touch under 16 euros a square meter. And the best, well, one of the most economic places to rent an apartment is Fuitadella, which we know is in Menorca. So good old Menorca coming through with the economic prices. So it's a bit sobering thought, mate, that all these people who want to live in the Balearics now, it's becoming almost impossible unless you've got pots load of money.
Well, that's the problem, and that's the problem, obviously, with the regarding to the employment as well, isn't it? That's the biggest problem I think we're coming up against is that people can't the wages that are getting paid can't live a normal life. That's the workers, that is, and then also young people trying to get onto the property ladder is just very, very difficult.
It's impossible, Richie, to get on the property ladder unless you've got 50, 60, 70,000 euros sitting in your bank account. And which young person has that?
Well, to be honest with you, Mark, weirdly enough, I was back in the UK a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to my sister. My sister's kids have exactly the same problem.
Yeah.
My sister lives just outside London, Hertfordshire. But you're looking at probably £1,000 a week. A week, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For a studio apartment. Do you know
£1,000 a week.
Yeah, bed share. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just it's madness. It's madness. Wow. In London, obviously, it's in London. Look, the further you go out, it's still very expensive.
Yeah.
So, listen, kids now, it's going to be difficult. We've both got young boys that you think, right, how are these boys going to get onto the ladder?
Well, it's funny you should say that because Luke, my oldest son, is actually in London at the moment, not house hunting, looking for places to rent. And believe it or not, he's looking Central London. Central London now is cheaper than it is in San Antonio. There you go. How mad is that? How mad is that? So he's looking at places, two bedroom apartments around about £2,000 a month with him and his friend. And you'll probably pay the same, if not more, here in San Antonio. So that's a bit of a sobering thought, isn't it, really, that we are up there with London, and London's probably arguably one of the major cities of the world.
Yeah, and as I said to you, so my sister's kids are struggling. There's two of them had to come back home to basically just to make ends meet. They're both working, but
Talk to me about Palma Hotels an all year round opening, Richie. This is an interesting one because me and you have always had this bee in our bonnet about 12 months a year tourism, haven't we? I know I saw you banging on about it the other day. I think it was a blog poster online as well. So what's happening over there?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. This came out in the papers earlier on in the week. It's 80 members of the Palma Hoteliers Association, or the 80 hotels who are members of the Hotel Association in Palma. Of those, 64 of them will now be open or remaining open through the low season. That's November through to March. And the other 16 are closing for just 1 month. So Of the 80, 64 are staying open the whole of the time. And 16 of them are just closing for 1 month, which I think is a step in the right direction. They say that what's been the biggest, one of the biggest causes of this is the new convention centre that's opened on the edge of Palma, which has a hotel, but obviously by the side of it as well, which is run by Melia, as far as I can remember. Yeah, so there's a lot more conventions coming into town now, which is great, obviously. The APTA conference actually is coming to Palma next year, as we've mentioned before. Not going to Palma. It's coming to Magaluf, but some more people now are thinking about Palma as they call it MICE, don't they? It's the events and the sort of the private events, etc. So more and more of them are coming. And but what I was talking about the other day is Palma sometimes for me doesn't seem to be on top of people's Christmas list to come and visit, for Christmas, whether that be shopping or seeing some Christmas markets. But I'll be honest with you right now, I would definitely put it on the map. We're obviously 2 hours away from the UK, 2 hours from most European cities. The lights are out of this world. They got turned on Saturday. The light is fantastic. Shops now, we've got 3 major shopping centres. That's Fan Shopping Centre, that's Porta-P, and also the Mallorca Outlets, which is all on the outskirts of the main city. But even the shops actually inside the city, including Corte Inglés and all your Louis Vuittons and Zara's and Mambos and all, are all there. Obviously, you've got the cuisine. Cuisine, obviously, is a huge part of people when they come away. So I think it's a fantastic place to come and shop for Christmas time. And I know you, Mark, actually do come over, don't you?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm a massive fan of Palma. I think when you live in Ibiza, you've got a choice to make for Christmas shopping. Do we go to Madrid? Do we go to Barcelona? Or do we go to Palma? And I love coming to Palma. Now, I've got a question for you, Richie. Has it been undersold previously? Because Palma's always been an amazing city. But have you had a malaise before where you haven't looked for winter tourism?
I think so. I do. And we've had this thing of Palma 365, etc. But I think particularly right now, if you're going to concentrate your market into the Christmas market, where we know people travel away for a short weekend to places, like Germany. I know friends of mine have been to Germany in the last couple of weeks, into Munich and stuff, because obviously German markets, etc. But there are some fantastic markets there, as I said, shopping centres galore, great boutique hotels, of which, we've just heard that 64 of them are going to be open throughout the course of the whole of the winter, not just Christmas time. So I listen, I think it's a fantastic city to visit. And listen, it's 15 minutes from the airport. What more do you want?
So, Richie, if you were in control of the marketing for Palma in the winter, just specifically for Palma in the winter, what would your message be to people from Europe, from London, from Berlin, whatever? What would your message be?
Well, I think I know TUI did a marathon at the end of October. I think it was right at the end of October, which obviously brought a lot of. I think there was somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 people ran that marathon, which is it was a fantastic amount of people. But that obviously brings tourism in. I think one of the things they've looked at is is sport is quite a big thing. It does bring a lot of people to the plate, doesn't it? Whether it's cycling, whether it's the marathon or that. I mean, I personally would obviously then promote Real Mallorca.
Yeah,
Barcelona in town.
But it's when I look at it, I had friends over who went to Barcelona last week, and they rang me up and I gave them some hints where to go. Now they went for a long weekend to Barcelona. Now they're the kind of people. They're 3 girls, 3 kind of 40-something-year-old girls who want to have a little bit of fun, girly weekend away, drinks, food. Surely Palma's the perfect place for that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, right now. Listen, I mean, the Tardeo they have on Saturday afternoon in the middle of Santa Catalina is mobbed, mate. You can't believe. I was there a few weeks ago, and it's absolutely mobbed. Obviously, with quite a lot of residents, younger people as well, admittedly. But it's a very popular time to go out and see.
Okay, let me put this to you as well, Rich. Do you think that we're very happy being locals here, but we don't want tourism in winter? Okay, because I was in San Antonio on Saturday. All the locals were there. We did a benefit day for Valencia. It was fantastic. Few beers, whatever. Hardly no tourists there whatsoever. We're all happy. And I'm thinking, actually, we like being on our own in the winter. We like because we're not messing around we're not mixing the tourism. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost it's a comfort zone of we do our thing in the winter. That's for us locals, and the summer's for the tourists. Do we have to change mentality?
I think so, and but I would also say that it's never going to be like it is in the summer. It's not going to be.
Well, it's a different product in the winter. But I just think even Ibiza town, Rich, in the winter is fantastic. The Christmas market, all the hotels are open. It's really obviously it's different buzz to Palma because Palma's one a major city. But I always amazed when I go to Ibiza town how good it is in the winter. And I think if my message was that we are open for winter, you should come over because you don't come over looking for the clubs because that's not going to happen. But if you want to come over, do a bit of shopping, have some good food, lots of drink and lots of good times, then I think the Balearics are a definite option for a winter destination.
Totally agree.
Talking of winter destinations or talking of destinations, did you see that Ibiza has the most expensive hotels in the whole of Spain again?
That doesn't surprise me, Mark.
Funny that, isn't it? Funny that. I mean, we've got the expense kind of edition today because we've got the most expensive places to rent and we've got the most expensive hotels to stay in. So interesting enough, Ibiza now is the most, and I think for the last several years, I think it's been up there anyway, but it's Ibiza town again, what we were just saying there. The average room is €235 per night in Ibiza town, and it's first in front of Marbella, which is €226 a night. So that's, is that a good thing or a bad thing, Rich? I'm not sure.
Listen, once again, it's down to what your government or whoever is in charge of your tourism is looking for. That Ibiza is known for its, it's clubbing, particularly in the summertime. It's known for its clubbing, June to September, particularly. That's what. Majority of the clubs have built hotels now, haven't they? As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I was in Benidorm last weekend before last. I was in Benidorm. We did the big fiestas over there. The big,
fancy dress and everything.
Fancy dress. Yeah, the Thursday fancy dress is massive. And a lot of people were saying to me, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if you had this in Ibiza?" And I was like, "No, it's just not our market at all." And I'm actually writing a blog about it, which is coming out in the next few days. I think I'll probably put it out the weekend. But saying, well, actually, everybody has got their place in the market, and Ibiza's place in the market is reassuringly expensive, And I think you know what you're getting when you book Benidorm, and you know what you're getting when you book Ibiza.
Yeah, but would you obviously that €235, whatever you said it was, is obviously only really June to September. So what we go back to that question again. So do you not want to sort of diverse your tourism a little bit in the winter time, or do you just want to go, no, all right, we're quite happy. We'll count our 235 in June, September, but in November, December we won't. We'll stick to what we've doing nothing basically. That's what we're happy.
Yeah, I think there's a general consensus here that we don't want to, from the hoteliers especially. I think that some of them want to open, but I think the old school hoteliers, they don't want to open in the winter. Why would you want to open 12 months when you can open 6 months and earn as much money? Because we all know that the employment laws over here and the way you open, it's very expensive to open businesses in Spain. So unless you're kind of going all the way through and you've got a fully working hotel, which you're going to be busy, which I've got friends of mine who've got hotels who do very good business in the winter. But if you've got a big hotel, you're like, well, actually, it's just not worth the hassle. And I kind of don't blame them. I mean, maybe that's an age thing from me as well. But, small boutique hotels, of course, get them filled. But big hotels, I think it's a risk to open them in the winter.
I agree, and obviously, I'm sort of look at the temperatures. I don't know what it's been like in Ibiza, but we've been averaging around about 20 degrees.
Oh, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful.
It's been absolutely gorgeous. And listen, when you hear about the floods and the snow and the ice and everything else back in the UK, everybody just wants to get. Everybody's calling me and going, "What's happening? What's happening to the weather?" I'm saying, "Well, it's fine."
I actually don't think we quite grasp the product we've got in the winter over here. And I think the most important thing, I think the Balearics are getting better in the winter. We're getting warmer. There's more things. So I remember 25 years ago, there was nothing in the winter, nobody around anywhere. It was like a ghost town. At the moment, because we've had this population boom as well, because locals like to get out in the winter and do things. You've got more restaurants open than ever, and you've got more hotels open than ever. So my message would be, get yourself over in the winter. And by the way, this €235, it's not going to be like that. There are some real There's some real deals in the winter if you want to look at. I mean, hostels, you can probably still get room for 50 quid a night over here, no problem whatsoever. Interesting enough, the daily average rate for Mallorca was €154 a night, mate. So, and that was an increase on 10% from the previous year. So you're definitely moving in the right direction if you're going up a market, which is what we've talked about previously.
Definitely. Should we talk about free transport?
What is this? What is this then, Rich? I mean, as Balearic residents, we get free transport anyway, don't we?
Well, yeah. I'm just checking whether you get this. For us, is also including buses. I don't know if that happens to you as well.
Yeah. We get free transport over. To be honest, when I was traveling over to Mallorca watching my son play football last season, I've got to say, Rich, I was blown away by your bus service. By the way, it is absolutely fantastic. It
is, and to be honest with you, Mark, I have to hold my hands up and say I actually used it myself last week. My car gearbox went last week, so and obviously my wife's working, So I had to get on the bus a couple of times last week. It was fantastic.
We're of an age though, Rich. We're of an age where we like a bus trip, don't we? You know, speak to a few strangers, have a little chat.
And I said to someone, "Do you know what? I get free bus travel." And he went, "You're not that old yet, are you?" I went, "Well, no, it's not quite like that." He said, "Any age. I mean, my boys use it. You know, sometimes if I can't give them a lift somewhere, they need to go and see their friends. They'll get on the bus. It's not a problem to them." Do you know what I mean? It's a fantastic service. You're right. And they're sort of saying right now they're not sure whether the government are going to meet. It's a 43 million euro subsidy basically getting from the government, the Madrid government, that is, which they haven't received for 2024 as yet.
But this is just for This is just for locals, not tourists, isn't it?
Yeah, this is just for locals.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
If you're a tourist, you have to pay. But there are lots of great for tourists. There are lots of great ways of saving money on the buses as well. Actually, to be honest with you, which if you got on a bus, you'd actually see, because they've got videos on the buses. I think it's great, telling you know how to save money and everything else. I'm very impressed. They're very, very impressed. But the service is great.
When I came over to Palma Nova in September, I was going to jump in a taxi. I jumped off the Ibiza flight, and then I Googled it. I literally jumped on the bus. I think it was €3.50 or maybe less than that. And it dropped me right out in the middle of Palma Nova. And I'm like, this is amazing. Honestly, I was blown away by it. The problem we have in Ibiza is the public transport. It's getting better, but it's nowhere near as good as it is in Mallorca. I think you've got that big bus station in town, haven't you, in Palma, which connects, which connects everything as well. So, I mean, I think the public transport in Mallorca, I don't know who's in control of it, but they should definitely take a bow, because it's excellent. And Ibiza is getting better, but because of the nature of the beast over here, it's a smaller island. People tend to use cars a little bit more, but we do get, if you're a resident, we do get free transport. But I'm interested to see if that 43 million subsidy includes Ibiza as well, or whether it's just Mallorca.
Well, it says, the headlines is about Mallorca free transport. I need to go into it a little bit more detail to find out if it. I imagine it probably does, but I'll try and find out.
Well, the one thing that the Balearics are very good at, if it happens in Mallorca, it usually happens in Ibiza. Otherwise, there's civil war, isn't there?
Yeah. So finally, Mark, we're going to talk about the airport today.
Yeah, well, you did I read your very interesting Dad Taxi blog at the weekend, and I absolutely 100%. I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, it pains me to say, Richie, but I couldn't agree with you anymore.
This is a reference to the airport that's going through quite a lot of change right now, and linking it to Rafa Nadal. Obviously, Rafa Nadal has just announced his retirement. He played his last game in the Davis Cup for Spain last weekend. So he's not playing anymore. And I think it's now time we should be calling it the Rafa Nadal International Airport. Or as I was told by a Spanish friend of mine, no, the Aeropuerto de Rafa Nadal. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, the Aeropuerto de Rafa Nadal. Yeah. This is something that obviously gets picked up quite often in other places, such as obviously Liverpool, the John Lennon Airport.
Absolutely.
Belfast is the George Best Airport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've got obviously Paris Charles de Gaulle. We've got JFK in New York. You know, it's not something.
You got Ronald Reagan. You got Ronald Reagan as well, haven't you? I mean, the bottom line is, Rich, I don't think the Balearic government are brave enough, and B, they're not forward thinking enough, because it's an absolute no brainer. Has there ever been a more famous / popular person out of Mallorca than Rafa Nadal?
No, totally, mate. And as I said, I think I wrote about it in my blog. If you have Rafa Nadal on the big screens as you come down those walkways as you're arriving, saying hi, welcome to Mallorca, in all different languages, because he does speak quite a few languages, let's face it, and just saying, just to let you know, welcome to my island, and my island, the money you're paying your tourist tax on is helping do you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
It's not rocket science.
No, it's not. But this is what annoys. But this is what annoys me about the Balearic government. It is, it's one of those things where it's a no-brainer. Listen, if you've got to pay him £1 million or got to pay £1 million to his charity or whatever, doesn't matter. Do it. The amount of business that would bring into Mallorca. Imagine all those young people going, where are you going to? I'm going to Mallorca. Where are you flying to? I'm going to Rafa Nadal Airport. I mean, wow. It's like. I mean, it really is, but because it's common sense and because it's a no-brainer, that's how I know the Balearic government won't do it.
Well, let's see, Mark. Let's see. I think it's a bit of a hot potato, but I don't think it should be. I think just
get a petition started.
Views out the way.
Get a petition started. Should we talk about Sunday roasts?
Sunday roast in Ibiza. I tell you, this is rock and roll. This is. I'm telling you. Come on.
Forget your Pasha. Forget your high Ibiza. It's all about Sunday roast in the winter. The funny thing is, I know in other places I've been to, I think maybe Palma or Mallorca and maybe Magaluf, in the winter, you always had the options of let's go there for Sunday roast or whatever. In Ibiza, you could never get a decent Sunday roast anywhere in the winter. At the moment, it's exploded everywhere. It's like the new culinary masterpiece is like the Sunday lunch. I had one yesterday. And I'm still full from yesterday. I've had no breakfast. But it's funny how I wrote about it in my blog this week that it's funny how these fashion, things go through fashion, whatever. But the Sunday roast at the moment, it just seems to be the winter battleground. Who can do we're not going for a paella on a Sunday, Richie. We're going for a Sunday roast. So it's an interesting development in the Ibiza psyche. And again, another reason why you should come over to Ibiza in the winter or into New York in the winter.
I love it, mate.
Are we going for a paella? No, we're going for a Sunday roast and a few pints of beer.
That's great. I love it. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Good result for Real Mallorca won again. Away.
Yes, I saw that, mate. What a great result. I mean, Danny was telling about my son saying that, didn't you have a stupid sending off as well? And it was a really good result, wasn't it? UD Ibiza won this weekend, and Port Manny beat. Oh, who did Port Manny beat? Was it Santangi? That's one of yours, isn't it? Santangi.
Santangi, yeah.
Yeah, Santangi. Yeah. That. So it's been a great weekend for Ibiza teams in the league. So really pleased about that.
And I heard your boy. I hear your boy got his first wage this week.
Yeah, well done to him. Did, mate. Well done, Danny. He got his first wage packet as a semi-professional footballer. You know what he did with it, mate? He's bought a new pair of
Sunday roast. No?
No, I paid for that obviously yesterday. He bought a new pair of goalkeeping gloves with him as well, mate. So,
mate, don't tell me. Go, and 150 probably wouldn't only got him at least one glove at least.
Actually, he's gone because the guys he's training with in the first team, he's got a special pair of gloves, and they're from SP. I don't know if you know the brand SP, and he's bought them. They were €90, but I did buy him some new boots last week, and you don't want to know the price. How much you? Well, you'll know, won't you? New pair of boots.
230, 240.
289, mate. 289.
I know, mate. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And a quick one before I go, mate. Your lad is now training with the first team for National League, yeah?
Yeah, he's a cadette, of course, but he's been playing for Juvenil, which is the next level up. But he's just been made the number 2 goalkeeper for Nacional, which is obviously, as you know, Mark, he's sort of one level below Honor, which is the goal now.
No, that's an amazing achievement because he's 15 playing in under 19 league, isn't he?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow, listen, give him my regard. I see that he's really pumped up and he's going for it, isn't he? So fantastic.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. We're top of the league, so
fantastic.
Really well.
Give him my best regards, mate, and great to see you as always, Richie. Have a great week.
All right. And you, mate.
And I look forward to listening to you on the radio in the mornings on Radio 1 Mallorca.
And I'll get you on, Mark. I'll get you on and we'll talk about it. Maybe we should talk Sunday roasts.
So a rock and roll in Ibiza, Richie.
Yes. Take care. Speak to you next week.
See you, mate. Bye.
All the best.